There is power in a story, and we all have a story. Our stories, if told, can inspire, encourage, and motivate. Hi, I am Rhonda, and welcome to the Book of Lives. Hi everyone, welcome to the Book of Lives. Today we're going to hear the story of a songwriter and vocal coach. Rochelle, welcome.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. Thank you for having me. Good evening to you.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good, and that's an honest response. I'm doing all right.
Excellent. So Rochelle, on the Book of Lives, we are all about stories. And stories have beginnings. Where does your musical journey begin?
My musical journey began a very long time ago. My talent as a singer was recognized very early in life. This I am thankful for because I grew up in a family of parents who love music. And my father is a musician. My mother isn't a musician. She sings her heart away. And we grew up being so involved in music, all types of genres of music. And when we started singing, I think I was about 5 or 6, my aunt came to live with us and she recognized that, these children are singing a little too polished. So she recognized the talent and then she forced it out of us. Like, listen, you're not getting this candy until you sing something. You're not getting to do this or go here until you sing something. And so that fostered us, me particularly, into this person that I am today. In terms of my exposure to music, I grew up in the church. My father is a minister of the gospel, and I spent most of my teenage years, later childhood, teenage years in St. Lucia, where I lived with my family. And it is there that the worship team drafted me in at 14 years old.
Nice.
And yes, and with that, I think a lot of the exposure that I've had growing up, listening to all types of music, being a part of the worship teams or worship choirs at a very young age, and when I came to Guyana to study at the University of Guyana, I was pulled into a band at the University of Guyana by people who I don't even know, but they just knew, oh, I heard about you,
Yes.
And then later on, I was drafted into Cross Carriers. And I've had all of these little exposures all the way that has drafted me into the person that I am right now. And now I've decided to take this journey as an individual journey, and I'm thankful for where I am today.
So you write your own songs.
Oh, yes, I do.
I heard you have a series of books.
I wonder where you heard that from. I wonder where you heard that from. Yes, I have a lot of, and the thing is, how this started is how I get inspired in the strangest of ways. Some of my songs, Rhonda, you and I would be talking, and then all of a sudden I zone out of the conversation and I say, just give me a minute. And I find a corner and write a complete song.
Lovely.
Sometimes I would be sleeping and I hear a song that I know that I don't know, but somehow I know all the words in my dream. And then I would get up immediately, whether it's 3-4 in the morning, and I would have to write those songs right away. Sometimes a thought would come to my mind and I'm like, okay, I need to express myself. This thought is so profound that I need to express it. And the only way I can find to do that is through song. And so I would sit and write, so given how this inspiration comes, I have several books because sometimes I would pick up the book that's closest to me just to get the thought out. So that is how I've built a variety of song books based on what's next to me right now.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
What message do your songs convey?
They're messages of positivity, messages of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, and I am not ashamed of that. I believe in God, and I have embraced his sacrifice that he's made by sending his son to die for my salvation. I believe in those things, and my faith cannot be taken from me because I've had my own experiences with God to know that this is true. This is
Yes.
fact. And so I've made that a part of my journey because I've seen where God has taken me from. When you have a testimony for yourself, there's nobody who can take your
Yes.
principles, your values, your belief system.
Exactly.
Nobody can take that away from you when you've had your own experiences. So my songs are built on faith. They're encouraging as well. I have a few songs, that talk about, people's journey, and knowing that, it doesn't matter how you begin, it's how you end. So there's a lot of positivity in most of my songs, and then some of them are leading towards the power of God, and how he has manifested himself in my life, and
Yes.
so on, things like that.
So in a few days, you are going to release your first single. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sure you're filled with excitement. Tell me, why a single? Why now? Why now? Why do a single now?
Why a single, and why no? I have come to a juncture in my life where I have woken up to realize that I have been hiding what the Lord has given to me. I have abilities that other people do not have. I have done things and experienced things that other people have not. I have been an inspiration to many young people for years and years. I have been able to impart into many young people for years. And I just choose to sit on the back burner and say, man, that's not my thing. Man, that's not me. And I think recently the Lord has just been dealing with me, whereas it feels more like a burden rather than just a desire. It has become a burden to me now, and I would have different kinds of dreams. I would have the Lord speak to me through them, and it just became overwhelming to a point whereby I was awakened to the fact that I need to begin to put myself out there. And believe it or not, this song has been ready for a year and a half now. And I've been tucking it under my belt, and when I need a little inspiration, plugging it into my personal ear and listen to what I've done and thank God for it. But I'm not willing to share it with the world. Yeah, I am that shy, and I was one who lacked confidence and all of that. But all of that is changing now.
Excellent. I'm happy that you've decided to share your talents with the world.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure the journey to this point has been filled with quite a few challenges. Tell us some of the things you had to overcome.
I have had to overcome the fear of failure. And it's interesting that I've seen quite a few failures in my life. Quite a few. And I think that God has been allowing those things to happen so that you can realize that this is nothing to be afraid of. Because if I reflect on every one of them, there was something to take away from it. There's something that I learned from each of those failures that I would have had. And I've learned to realize how important those experiences are to my journey and where I am right now. So it's not something that I am afraid of per se. Of course, I'm still working on me.
Yes.
And then another thing is I cared a lot about what people think. I've allowed a lot of negative words to influence me for a very long time. And now that I've come out of that place, I am filling my mind with positivity and thinking, positive thoughts and so on. So those are challenges. Those are personal challenges that I've had to overcome in order to put myself out there. Because I know that there are a lot of young people who struggle with their identity. They struggle with self-esteem.
Yes.
They are afraid to launch out because they are afraid of failing. They're afraid of what people might say about them. This generation that's coming up, they have the most unique ideas, and they're so afraid to launch out and get these things done. Yes. And they're looking for people like me and you who are not afraid to take one step in this direction. So I want to be one who clears the way for those who are coming behind me. I want to say yes because I know that my yes affects the generation that comes after me. I don't want to be one of those people who hid behind walls and hid behind closed doors. I don't want to
Yes.
be those one of those who hid their talents and denied themselves of opportunities that were presented to them. I want to say yes now because
Yes.
that will affect those who are coming after me.
Excellent.
They say failure is only failure if you don't try again.
Ah,
Happy,
yes.
I'm happy to see that you learned your lessons and you tried again, and here you are.
Awesome.
Here I am. And
Yes.
when you fail, you get to know what not to do. There are a lot of people who
Yes.
don't know what not
Yes.
to do. And to
Exactly.
me, that is the greatest factor to doing something excellently and doing it
Yes.
in the correct way,
Yes.
knowing what not
Not
to do.
to.
That cuts
Yes.
your time in half.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, when your single comes out, where will we be able to get your single?
How and where?
I'm encouraging people to follow me on Instagram at
Okay.
Rochelle the Peculiar One. And you can check me out on Facebook. My full name, Rochelle Maxius-Benn. You can follow me on Facebook and I'll keep you posted as to what is happening. It's happening December 2nd, right on the internet. Of course, we have a lot of things to consider, knowing that we're still dealing with a pandemic.
Yes.
And so we're trying to do things as we're trying to be as creative as possible where these things are concerned.
Yes.
So it's definitely going to be virtual and it will be available for everyone to view online. So come follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and you'll know exactly what's happening, when it's happening, and how.
Okay, so Rochelle, before we end, what's next? You have your single album next, maybe?
What's next? I have my own plans, but nothing beats when you put it to God and allow Him to do what He wants to do. Because I've had many plans in the past and it just didn't work. I looked at myself like, you really thought that was gonna. So I am learning now to present what I want to do, before God and allowing Him to just establish it for me. I can tell you what I have planned. Yes, of
Okay.
course, I'm working towards an album to complete it
Yes.
before the next year has ended. And
Okay.
of course, I am an aspiring health and wellness promoter.
Okay.
And those are areas I intend to launch into very soon. So yeah, that's what's next for me.
Well, all the best in your endeavors. I'm looking forward to that album.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. And thank you for having me on this show.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. For those who are listening, thank you so much. And until next time, stay inspired.